Hey guys, this is Ayat from S-Frame Software, and today we're going to be taking a look at how to import our S-Frame superstructure into S-Foundation. So this will let us not only use our superstructure as a guide for where to place our foundations, but it'll also allow us to automatically load our foundations with the base reactions that we get from the S-Frame analysis. Now the first step is, if we're interested in the loading from our superstructure, we're going to want to make sure that we've run the analysis on our S-Frame model. So to do this, I can go to the graphical results window and then take a look at my base reactions tool. And here we can see we have some information, so I can confirm that I have run the analysis. And now from here, I have two different options. I can either go to Run and then click S-Foundation, or I can actually open up S-Foundation and then open up this TEL file using S-Foundation. Since we're already here, let's go ahead and just click Run S-Foundation. And now here we are in S-Foundation. So we can obviously see our superstructure has been imported. And we also have our load cases and load combinations that have been imported as well. And I can take a look at that here in the case combination tab of my design input window. So if I want to confirm that my base reactions were imported, I can go ahead and switch to the reaction load tool, select the appropriate load case, and then let's put some labels on so we can see these forces. So if we look at this joint here, we can see that the loads actually match up with the same loads that we got from the S-Frame analysis. So now we have our superstructure in S-Foundation. We can go ahead and use it to place our foundations exactly where we want them. So I can switch to, for example, the isolated footing tool, and then click right at the bottom of that column. And now that isolated footing has been placed underneath that column, and it will be receiving these base reactions from the column. Now we can do the same thing with the other foundation tools in the program. So for example, if we wanted to work with the wall footing, place that under this wall, we'll go ahead and switch to the wall footing tool. And I'll press Tab to start with a pedestal. I'll continue on and double click to insert that wall footing into my model. Now you'll see my pedestals didn't really match up here. And this is something that I can go ahead and change in the Define Pedestals dialog. I also had the option to edit it before I placed it by changing the information here in the tool window. And if we look at the finite element model, again, if we look at the reaction load tool, we can see that those reaction loads are now being transferred to those joints of the substructure. We can do the exact same thing with the continuous footing tool. So if we select that tool, we can left click to click at the bottom of our columns, and that will place the pedestals at the bottom of each column. Now sometimes it might be easier to see using the plan view. So if I click the plan view button, it switches to a top-down view. And we see we have a couple of columns here that are relatively close to each other. So we can use the Map Foundation tool to make a foundation for these columns. So just like normal, go ahead and click the Map Foundation around the columns that I want to place on the Map Foundation. Now you'll see that S-Foundation automatically finds these columns and automatically creates pedestals for them. But in this case, the pedestals are not the right orientation. So we'll go ahead and hold Control and left click to remove those pedestals. Then we can move over here to the tool window and make a pedestal that's appropriate for our columns. And since we're working with concrete columns, we won't need the base plate, so I'll select None. Now I can go ahead and left click to place my pedestals underneath my columns. And once I'm done, I can go ahead and double click any pedestal that I've placed to finish inserting that foundation into my model. Now from here, I can go ahead and run my analysis on my substructure, or I can go ahead and export this entire model back to S-frame and run the analysis on the superstructure and the substructure at the same time. These topics will be covered in another video, so if you're interested, check out the videos on our YouTube channel.